Howdy folks, Grok the DuckFarmer here, and I'm on the FTOG Enigmatica 2 server, hanging out here down at my mob farm area, and I made a few changes down here. For one thing, right there above my head is another mob crusher, because the one just behind me does 3 blocks tall, and that one does another 3 blocks tall, which means this 6 tall area is now completely covered by crushers. And above, I had a whole bunch of, I had 4 different Draconic Evolution mob crushers, and I never really noticed anything going up there. And one of the reasons why that's no longer an issue, because I was worried about things like ghasts going way up there, because you can see I've got quite clear glass right here, and so nothing can go up. And that will definitely stop that from happening, which is good. And you like that little glitch right here? These 2 chiseled blocks. Ever since I logged in, they are showing up transparent. Anyway, one of the things that I showed off in the last episode was that wither skeleton killing area, and I moved it over here down in my base because this is in a claim chunk. They don't blow up the blocks, which I think is really cool. So over here, if I come to this little section right here and I put the stuff in place, they appear right over there. I'm just out of the explosion radius. If I go to this block here, I take damage, in here I don't. Anyway, so I can place them and grind through and kill a whole bunch of withers that way. Now, one of the things I am going to do is, because I'm not currently actively using this, I am boxing up all this stuff, because there's absolutely no reason for this to tick if I'm not using it. So, you know, not using it, I'm packing it away. These don't tick, they don't do anything. Let's head on up. And the reason why, I just ran some live goggles, and I had both my wither skeleton spawner and also this. We'll let them spawn. These are wisps, and they're dying instantly because of the mob crushers here. Because, yay, that's great. Anyway, I was just running that, and if we take a look at the profile, you can see there's some things ticking. And it makes sense. The mob duplicator and the wither skeleton spawners were both ticking away, and then this grinder and that grinder over there are ticking away. Now, with these grinders, if there's nothing to grind, they don't do anything. Now, down here, we've got several other things that are ticking away. We've got a conduit bundle here that's doing some stuff. Again, the hopper here and the power, those tick away. But the hopper does less ticking if there's nothing here for it to do. You can see some colors over there. That's why they're all packaged away, because I'm not really using them. And the reason why, here, let's turn this off. This is kind of annoying. Okay, there. These tick extremely little if there's nothing going on. And so I'm okay with leaving this here. Future Grok here. I noticed as I was editing this video that in my first segment, I missed a piece that I wanted to do. Now, that first segment was the second take, because the first time I did it, I rambled way too long and it was really annoying and ugly, and so I said, nope, gonna do it again. And then I got distracted by the server getting ready to reboot, and I forgot to point out this cool little structure here. This is my wither skull generator. Now, I showed off down below. I'm looking down there like you could see it. I'm looking way down there. I could run the wither skeleton spawner, but that ticks something crazy. And this entire thing here, maybe 25 milliseconds of tick. Maybe. And most of it is because I'm using this pearled ender hopper to just instantly suck up the ender skulls. So, how does this work? Well, I've got 4 of these wither skeleton trophies that you get with fortune. It's a really teeny tiny chance, but I got 4 of them. And then I'm running a mechanical user against each, which is set to activate block with item and redstone on. And then the brains is here in the middle of these 4 is a timer from Dark Utilities that is set to 1 minute. So every minute it will pulse, which will tick off the mechanical users, which will right-click these skeletons, which occasionally, I can't remember whether it's 15, 20 minutes, something like that, they will spit out a skull that instantly gets sucked up by the pearled enderhopper and thrown into my diamond chest, and there's 20. Which doesn't sound like a whole lot, except I've emptied this out earlier. Now let me overlay a picture here of an earlier screenshot. That's a lot of skulls. And it was just slowly, silently, cautiously, calmly generating these skulls for me. And it's like maybe, I think it was 3 days. I was off doing some other videos. So that's why I was happy to let it just slowly generate those skulls for me. And that I like. So that's what I'd say. If you want to generate skulls, this is the way to do it. That's low impact on the server. And really good. Now, does this mean you should set up like, 10 or 20 of these, pods to generate lots of skulls? No. that kind of breaks the whole thing. No, you want to be gentle on the server, which this is, and running a massive, wither skeleton farm for a huge amount of time. It's not so massive, not so gentle on the server. And then you've got to generate the withers, and then you're going to have a massive, wither killing party for a while, and that's also not very gentle on the server. So be gentle. Be very gentle. Now, oh, hey, cool. I've got some of these gems out of here, and that's what I've been grinding the wisps for that. In fact, if we go up here, come over down here into my little sneaky area. Over here, I've been putting the various gems, not gems, these are the crystals. I've been putting them as they develop, and there's 70 plus. It's been a long time since I counted them, but I'm just slowly grinding these out when there's not many people on the server, just because when I get ready to do Thaumcraft, it's nice to have these on hand, where if I need some mortise, I can just use the crystal. Yeah, I can also grab other items, but quite often the other items have other items in them. So it's maybe mortise and animus and maybe, ignis or something like that. And that can cause issues, and I prefer not to. And of course, we're restarting in 5 minutes. Anyway, any place where I can box stuff up, I have been doing it. Like this over here, these are all power cells. They're all boxed up. These are a bunch of machines that I noticed that are constantly ticking. And so I boxed them all up because I'm not actively using them right now. Now, this is my sag mill, and I just ran some iron through because I was getting really low. So I just ran it through and then processed it, and then I boxed it back up, because I'm trying to get as little on the server as possible. And if we look at the results here, these are no longer ticking. Those are the mob grinders. That's the powered spawner, and that's the duplicator. Those are all gone. This one is still ticking. This conduit bundle is up above. And let's go up here, because we were talking amongst ourselves on the Discord, the FTOG Discord, that if you have a collector crystal focused on a light well, you produce so much more with the crystal. So I'm doing that as an experiment right now, and so this is running, actively running. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to put a box here, and I'm going to put a box here, and I'm going to put a box here, because they all kind of tick. The drum and the chest by themselves, they do no ticking whatsoever. So that's not a big problem. Oh, and then this over here, this is my ritual to stop mobs from spawning, and there's no light show here because it's off. And that's because there's a block here in the way. Well, I just flip the lever, and the ritual is back into effect, and 2,000 blocks around me is, protected from mobs. But we'll turn it back off. Because I know there's some people within that 2,000 range, and they actually want to run, their own mob farms as necessary. So I said, okay, I can do that. Not a problem. But occasionally I do. Anyway, if you've been checking up really quick, my, oh, hey, here's somebody. If you take a look at my list up here, I've got some modifiers and nanobot goodness, because that's what I want to do. I want to get set up the nanobots. In fact, I think Meckley just decided he didn't want to have the mob spawning in the area. And I want to set it up here, but I'm not 100% sure which modifiers. I think this is all of them, and I'm not sure which ones I want. and how strong of them I want and how big of it it's going to be, but I think it should fit right here. That probably needs to move. So whenever I have that sort of question, I play with it in creative mode. And welcome to my creative world. I am a big fan of making a void world and setting it to creative for every mod pack that I play, because mod packs tweak some of the mods and how things work, and there's different mods in the different mod packs, and also there's different updates to the mods. And so I always like to check and see how things are working, as well as I like to build things first, especially if they're complex. Like I was doing some astral sorcery stuff, and there's an actual Schematica template, and that's what that looks like right there. And I said, I'm curious what it looks like. Let's build it. And that little bit right above my head, that's where I did the 3x3 growing of crystals and splitting them. I tested it and tested it until I got it to work, and then I could build it in survival. Playing with ships, building stuff, that's Japanese, having all sorts of fun in a creative world, and testing things out first and see how well things are working. And I do a lot of that over here with environmental tech, mainly because I always forget what's the size of these miners, and they pretty much stay the same every time, but I always kind of forget what is it. But if I'm looking at building one of these, I also want to know what ores get produced by them. So I'll sit there and build the tier 6. I'll slap a drawer controller, assuming that storage drawers is in the pack, give it a bunch of void upgraded drawers, and say go. With lots of updates for speed. And interestingly enough, I looked at this and I said, there are 24 things that the tier 6 miner will bring. That's them. And I thought, oh, okay, not that many. Except there's 40 if you use a tier 5. Because there's some of the ores, like iron, that does not show up over here. I didn't catch that when I first was playing with this. And so, I initially planned for just that many ores. But yeah, you get a lot more with this. So what I found out was, stop at tier 5. If you need some of the other ores, stop. If you need a lot of these fine stuff, like you need draconium, stop highlighting stuff. But if you need lots and lots of draconium and you need it fast and you've got lots of power, sure. Go with this. Put the specific crystal that will focus on those and go with it. Anyway, I'll play with that. I'll make the same thing for the resource miner and see how many things it gets the various blocks, and that tends to be a lot more. There's also a biotic miner that'll get you leaves and all the various vegetable stuff, but there's so many things. I never make that, you just don't. But anyway, so getting the size makes it really great to figure out how to do things. And since I'm in creative, I could make the digital guide, always worth doing, because then you can come in here and you can look and see what's the size of things that I need. If I'm gonna make a resource miner tier 4, here's all the blocks. It tells me it's an 11 by 7 by 11, the default durations and how low it can go. All of that information is here, but the sizes are not. So I like to have that. Plus, the other thing I like to do is come in here and say, okay, make a stone someplace. I'll slap whatever I want to build. In this case, I've got a personal nanobot beacon tier 3, and then I can just hit it with the assembler, and Creative, it just instantly built it. So I can quickly look and say, okay, that's the dimensions. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tall. It's a bunch wide, and it's symmetrical on all the axes. So I can go, okay, I know the size of what it is. But since we're talking nano beacons, and that's actually what I'm doing the testing right now, I went ahead and made all of the tiers. So tier 1, 2, 3, all the way through 6. And that's just a beast. I like the look of it, but I like that structure block better with that bright blue. I like that better than the uber dark, but yeah, just a taste thing. Anyway, I was playing with these, and here, let's switch to survival, and I got flight. I've got flight because this nanobot beacon right here has the creative flight modifier in it. It also has 4 total, and if I take a look I've got regeneration, fire resistance, and saturation, which has no modifier. And creative flight doesn't show up on here. One of the things that's nice about this is you can turn it off with a lever. Here, let me stand over a block and turn it off. And you start off with 30 seconds, which counts down and very quickly goes back up to 30 seconds. But because I flipped it with a lever and turned it off, it's slowly going down. It's not building back up, which is a problem if you go outside of the range of this beacon. Now, it's a personal nanobot beacon, which means it affects you wherever you are, as long as this chunk is loaded. Hey, this is where I'm supposed to fall down. Why am I still getting creative flight? It's got issues, but I'm not going to complain too much because I don't want to fall in the void. I've done that already. And then we're back with all this stuff. The thing that I had is I had this loaded, it got creative flight, and I flew out there beyond where you can see, because I've got a mob farm out there, and I was looking at some of that, and all of a sudden I was out of this range. And I lost my creative flight and fell down real quick. And then I just double tapped because I was still in creative mode. So I was up and going. Anyway, I love being able to flip a lever and turn things off. And that was one of the suggestions I made to the mod author, Valkyrie of Night. And he said, ooh, that's a good idea. Let's do that. I also went ahead and said, hey, you should have a lever for each of the modifiers so you can turn them off. He says, that's a good idea too. He just hasn't done that yet, because the fire resistance has it on, and I still get it. So, you know, the main reason I would want that is for, which one? That one, night vision. Sometimes I like being able to turn night vision off, and yeah, there's no easy way to do it. Now, I was looking at this and I said, okay, I could make this one, and it's only 768 FE per tick. That's not much at all by the time you've got the resources to make that. So I said, what if I made 3 of them? Now I've got 8 boosts. Except that's kind of annoying, isn't it? That the way it's not on the same recycling, rebooting, regenerating cycle, and so it flips. That's just really annoying. But, you know, you can get another 4, and you can come over here and you can give yourself another 4. And, okay, that's also really annoying. But you could do that, and this is pretty dang cheap in resources. But, yeah, the having all of those flip around is very, very annoying. Now, these are down at the bottom because they are they're constantly getting recycled, and the rest of these will disappear when the time goes. So you could go ahead and upgrade this to a tier 2. Now you've got 8 modifiers that you can use. Or tier 3, now there's 12, and it's 4 more as you go along. And so I was looking at the various modifiers, and I was going, which ones do I really want? Glowing, no. Oh, there, I just lost my health. Saturation's really good, and there's a bunch of these modifiers that I looked at, and I said, okay, these are the ones I settled on. I said creative flight, flight speed modifier, the fire resistance, and saturation. I said those are all really, really nice to have. Some of these stack, and we'll talk about that, but I wouldn't go more than 1 flight speed modifier, because then you start getting really fast, and then you're causing problems on the server. So don't do it. 1, I find, gives me a nice speed boost. Next here, I've got water breathing, haste, regen, and health. Those are all very nice. And then night vision, resistance, strength, and luck. I said those 12 I really like. I would also like absorption, but there's no recipe for that. I'm hitting the R. Now, you know, there's recipes for these other things, but there's no recipe for absorption. So I can't do absorption. As much as I'd like to, I can't. Now, some of these things stack. Like, if we come down here, this one here has the health boost modifier in it, and it's got 4 of them. And you can see I've got my normal hearts, but if I turn this on, I now have 2 more hearts. Because one of these, Health Boost 1, is now in place, which is nice and all that. But if I have a bigger one of these and I turn it on, I now have Health Boost 2, and it's flipping around. And I've got 4 hearts, because this tier 2 can double up on this health boost modifier twice. The rest are getting wasted. Well, the same thing with a tier 3. Boop, 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 boop. There goes my hearts. This will power 3 of these health boosts, regardless of how many. This will power 4. This will power 5. And this will give me 6, health boost 6. And I've got 2 yellows in there. Even though it's filled with all the health boosts, it only will do 6 of them. And that's the same thing with absorption, if I could make it. The speed boost modifier for flight, a bunch of those all will stack. And there's really not much information as to which ones will stack and which ones won't, which is why I come into here into Creative to play with this. Now, I look at this and I go, okay, that's way too many of them. It's cycling around. I was looking at this and going, you know, a lot of these things, like, do I need that many health in this pack right now? No, because I've got plenty of health and hearts already, so I don't need that. But I do like this set. It's cycling around. That just drives me the bananas. But this one I do like because it gives me the 12 that I want, and I really like the clear structure blocks. So I played with this and said, does this actually work? Yes, it does. So this is the one that I'm going to make, which tells me that it's 5 tall and 9 across. So that gives me an idea as to how big this needs to be. I will definitely put a lever and some power on it, and it doesn't matter which direction you put the power, top or even bottom, because you can actually, I may put it underneath because that way it's kind of hidden from sight, and that's cool. So that's something that I think I'll go do now. That little segment in the Void World was done even before I started this episode. I knew I was going to go this direction. It was also very early in the morning, and so I had morning voice there. But anyway, I got stuff, and let's make some things. So I went ahead and, let's just look first. Here are the 12 that I'm going to make. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, let's look at these again real quick. These are indeed the 12 that I was going to do. I would like absorption, but nope, not happening. And then this is null modifiers, because if we take a look at this, we need a null modifier for each of them plus mica. And mica you get only from the resource miner, which I've already used and grabbed and gotten, and so that's not an issue. Plus this Lungen's Delight, whatever, crystal, which actually has a recipe for it. So I'm gonna make those. So let's do that first. That here, let's make let's come over here and grab up the black quartz that I had made. All right, there's my 48 that I need, and that should give me 12. Done. All right, let's go ahead and make these things. So I don't need the nulls. Let's get rid of the nulls. All right, so luck. Not sure how much luck is actually going to be useful. It's supposed to be like an intrinsic extra modifier for, you know, looting, sort of. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, creative flight. I have 2 elytras, and they're there. Yeah. I definitely want that. And then the flight speed modifier, I've got everything but that funky top thing. So let's make those speed modifiers. Another modifier component. Let's make those. And then I need 2 of these. 1, 2, and I can make the flight speed modifier, and that can go, and the creative flight haste. Yeah, I did make some of these things to begin with to speed things up. Strength, let's go ahead and grab that, and then regen. I thought I had lots of apples, and it turns out I only had 1, but that's okay. I made the rest that I needed. Shields, for some reason they are not being picked up, but that's okay. There we go. Resistance modifier. And I can go away. And then fire resistance. I thought I didn't have any magna blocks, so I went ahead and grabbed some more, and then I realized, oh, I had them, but they were in a different chest, because I haven't dumped everything into my AE here yet. Water breathing, just bottles, and I got those. Night vision. There's my night vision. And health boost. We'll get 1 of those. And then saturation. All right, there's my 12. And then I've got the structure blocks. I had some leftover tier 5s because math was not my strong suit. And so I made some tier 3s because I didn't figure I needed to upgrade them. And then I've got my clear structure panel. So, oh, do you know what I haven't done at all? I haven't made these at all. Let's see what we need. To make a personal nanobot, I need to make a ranged nanobot, which means I need, of course, I can make these. So I need 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Personal also needs another 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beacon I don't have, so we'll need to make one of those. Hey, good thing of having that around. And then I need some interconnects, and oh, I'm going to need to make a bunch of null modifiers. All right, okay, so I need to make that, and then that I can use to make my personal nanobot. And then nanobot 2 is just a new set of the same blocks, and then nanobot 3 is just more of the same blocks, which I've already got in null modifiers. And so I'll make these off camera, and then we'll go up where I'm actually going to place these. Thankfully, through a cunning use of editing, you won't notice that at all. So let's make these right here. There's the ranged nanobot beacon tier 1, and then we're going to make the personal. And there's the personal nanobot. The difference is one just works for anybody in that area, and this works only for me because I'm going to be the one that places it down. That's the difference between the two. So I need a tier 2. There's the tier 2, and then I need a tier 3. Tier 3 done. All right, let's go up and place this. And I moved this around. That little central pillar holding that up, that's all gone. And this was over here a little bit, and I moved it on that direction. So if I go doink and put that there, that's going to get power. It's already got the power. And if I hit it with my assembler, it will just start plopping everything where it needs to go, which is fantastic. And are you assembled yet? Still says false. There we go, true. And I want to make one change. Let's see, that's the water breather. No, I'm looking for, there's the night vision. Let's break that, gimme. And this is the flight speed modifier, so that can go there. And I'll put the night vision here. And I'm going to take this null modifier, and I'm just going to paste it right there. In case I want to get rid of the night vision, I could just break the block and replace it, and then I'm good. And then I can turn off everything here with that lever. But nope, I want to have everything run. Oh, it's kind of cool. You can see through. We got a little random striping. If that bugs me too much, I may actually arrange it, but yeah, that's okay. And unfortunately it hangs over in it a bit, but that's okay too. What this means is now I can put away my angel ring. In fact, let's just go paste it here on the ground. Doink. And I still have flight. And all these things are here. And why are they cycling around? Ah, that's annoying. It's not supposed to cycle around. It's supposed to all stay steady. Oh, they're looking pretty steady right now. Okay, good. Bugs me. Anyway, so that works out very nicely. So I've got a few more hearts. I've got saturation going on and regeneration, and that should be with me anywhere I go. So let's take this and go downstairs. 1, 2, 1 more. And let's just kind of paste that there for later use in case something happens. And we'll just put you guys on the walls because I don't need you right now. But what I am going to do, let's grab a Terra Steel, one of these, because I'm going to go kill me the Gaia Guardian. Let's head over this way. Here we go. All right, so this is the... Well, if we come look around, where's David's stuff? Okay, so there's David's area, and he has built this Coliseum for Gaia Fights. In fact, let's drift over this direction. And that looks really cool. I like it a lot. And I really like this little fire pit here, which is very, very nice, and I like his build. Just very cool stuff. He went ahead and set this up, and this chunk right here is unclaimed, so people can come into here and drop down, and they can add themselves to the environmental controller and give themselves saturation in the area, which doesn't matter for me because I've got saturation. And I went ahead and way up there I set up a ritual, which I anchored here, that will kill mobs in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and kill the Gaia because I have full saturation, I have lots of regen, lots of health, and I've got a really screaming good gun here. It shouldn't take very long. It is going to strip my flight away because that's really annoying, but that's just kind of the way it is, and I'm going to turn down the volume and speed this up. And there we go, just like that. The guy is dead, and look at all this loot over here. That's just insane. So, hey, you die too. All right, so that, yep, I got my 8 bits, and I can surround Terrasteel with the 4 of these Gaia spirits, and that will allow me to summon the Gaia 2, and it's going to be just as easy because all the regen, all the saturation, and a really screaming good laser gun. He's got no chance. I like that. Oh, and if you couldn't notice, the zombies tracked me, but the skeletons didn't because I'm invisible because of my gun. Anyway, that's just the way it is. Fun. Up there. Now you can see me again. Oh, so this is really cool that David set up for the community, and I appreciate that because I haven't done this here on the server yet, so now I have. And that's really fun. And so now I've got some cool nanobot beacon capabilities, and I have some... Nope, the back end's not done yet. That's okay. And I've got fantastic buffs. I love that a lot, and you know, what's not to like about having your own little personal bots taking care of you? I love it. Anyway, this has been Grok the DuckFarmer here, having a blast here on the Enigmatica 2 server, with partying with the FTOG, the Friends Through Online Gaming group, and it's a blast. And thanks for watching. Bye.